We're going to be going at this right now. We're going to be actually doing a tier list of all, and I repeat, of all the skills in Arc Raiders right now. I think this would actually be a great tier list, what to do. Excuse me. I think this is going to be a good tier list. I'm actually quite excited about this, to actually dive into this and talk about all the skills in Arc Raiders and actually explain why I look at some skills bad and why I look at some skills good. And that way we can actually have a discussion and actually talk about what skills are actually good, what skills is actually up there and actually be beneficial for you to get. Well, folks, it's time for us to get right into it. So let's do it. I really want to say this right now. Like, I think personally, like, if you guys hear me awfully a lot, and by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be a lot of cuts because, you know, I don't know the skills names by heart. So that's why I have to keep going over and over and over again. But I know these two skills by their logo. I know what they actually look like. And we're actually, if you guys actually been watching this channel for quite a lot, then you guys will understand where I will already rank these skills right off the bat. So let's actually talk about it right now. So these two skills, for an example, like if we go right back to the game, we have Marathon Runner and we have Youthful Lungs. Marathon Runner, moving around, costs less stamina, and Youthful Lungs increases your maximum stamina. These two skills are honestly the best skills in the game, in my opinion, which is why right off the bat, we're just going to actually put them in S tier. Both of them are super great. There's absolutely no reason to not put a 5 out of 5 on both of these skills, because stamina, like I said, is always super crucial in this game, and I think Arc Raiders is telling you to actually put some skills in here because stamina is so important. Now, the feather skill, which is basically, hold on, let me look at the name of it one more time. So Used to the Weight is actually a phenomenal skill in my opinion, because later down the line, right, you are actually going to be wearing medium shield, and maybe at some point you might want to wear heavy shield if that's what you want to do. And that movement is kind of important because you don't actually want that move. You don't want things to slow you down. That being said, I don't think this skill is actually an S tier, because I do see a lot of reasons why some people will want to do light shield, because maybe they want to be moving around a lot more. In my opinion, I think it should be honestly an A tier, and honestly sometimes, given the situation, I could actually put this on S tier as well, because I love those, you know, those mobility perks, those perks that actually gets you moving around, get you out of sticky situations. Blastborn. Now, Blastborn is probably the worst skills in this game. It's a skill that you guys should never ever pick up. It's actually an audio skill, and audio in this game is important, don't get me wrong, but this has no difference with it. If you really want a powerful skill, probably get some headphones, in my opinion, because headphones will actually be the ones that actually help you, and you can totally negate the whole skill entirely. But even then, the skill is just completely awful. So what it says actually in the game is that it says your hearing is less affected by nearby explosions. It might sound good on paper, but it's really not that great. And because of that, I absolutely 100% agree that no one should pick up this skill regardless whatever build you're doing. And I'm going to put that on the D tier because that is probably one of the worst skills in the game. This skill right here, which is basically breaching, but you're breaching much more quietly, which is actually going to be titled Gentle Pressure. You make less noise when breaching. It's a good skill, don't get me wrong, but it's not like some of the best skills in the world. And the green skill tree as a whole, though, it has been, you know, in my eyes now, since I have about 70 hours into this game, we're kind of approaching 100 hours in this game now. I have actually come to find like a new love for the green skill tree. So I do understand that some people might want to put in 5 skill points here and actually 5 here and then moving on here, because that's actually what I do now. Because, you know, breaching can actually be life or death. Someone could be sneaking up to you. And for that, in my opinion, I actually want to actually put this, in my opinion, probably B tier. I think this is a great skill to have because, like, it could be life or death situation. There could be some players coming in and approaching and building, and they're actually just bloodthirsty. They want to search for someone. They want to search to actually kill someone. So by you having that skill can actually save your life in some scenarios. But I don't think it's that great and a must skill compared to the 2 S tier skills that I see here. Fight or flight. When you're hurt in combat, regain a fixed amount of stamina. Has a cooldown between uses. Fight or flight is actually a decent skill. I don't think it's necessarily a bad skill, but it's a skill for me that I just won't pick up. but I understand why someone would make an argument in a case to pick up the skill. I think, you know, like I said, stamina is important, and I do understand that. But for you to get that skill, you have to get Blastborn. You have to put a point down, at least 1 point down to actually get it. Is it worth it? Some will say yes. I, for one, unfortunately, we're going to have to go and put it on a C tier. It just doesn't fit my playstyle, and I honestly think it's decent. I think it's okay. Now, let's actually talk about this real quick first. We're actually going to talk about this iconic skill right here that I love bringing up, which is actually the carry the momentum. After a sprint dodge roll, sprinting does not consume stamina for a short time. Has a cooldown between uses. I think this skill is honestly really, really great. I think this skill is, you know, because you're obviously going to be rolling awfully a lot, and especially when you're in combat, you're going to be rolling, and you might want to roll and probably escape and use that fight or flight type of situation in your head and start to just run away, or maybe you want to run towards the enemy. Either way, you will be sprinting at some point. And for that, in my opinion, I actually would rank this actually an A tier, but believe it or not, I might actually rank it, put it all the way at the end of A tier. The only reason why it's an A tier is because it does take 1 skill point to get, and plus you're already getting 2 S tier perks, in my opinion, so you might as well pick this up. That being said, let's actually move on to the next one right here. Proficient Prior. Breaching doors and containers take less time. I think time is key in this game. I think this is actually not a bad skill. Don't get me wrong. You know, you can definitely put 5 points into here because it does go hand in hand with gentle pressure and this one. So you're breaching quietly, and you're also breaching less time. So you're going to be actually breaching very quickly here. So because of that, I think personally, it's only fitting, in my opinion, to actually put it with B tier along with it, because I think they go hand in hand together. Survivor Stamina. When you're critically hurt, your stamina regenerates faster. Now, this is going to be a hot take right here, even though this is a 1 skill point, but you have to pick up Blastborn. You have to pick up this skill too, which is Fire Flight, in order to actually get this skill. And I know it's 1 point, but it's only effective when you're critically injured. Now, I would say this, there is not that much times where you're going to be critically injured, and if you're super critically injured, you're going to die most likely. Someone is going to kill you, someone's just going to shoot you and finish you off. So in my opinion, like, there's not that much times that you will be critically injured, and I feel like you won't get the full value of this perk. So that being said, I honestly think, in my opinion, I think it's like C tier but it's at the end of C tier. I don't believe it's in D tier because there's plenty and plenty worse skills in this game that you guys will see, but I don't think this is actually also, it's something to mention too. It takes 1 skill point, so that's actually something else to mention as well. It's 1 skill point. You might as well pick it up if you want to, of course. You know, it's not that bad of a choice, but I'm just saying there's not many times where I'm critically injured and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, I'm gonna be there. But anyways, though, let's move on to the next one. If your shield breaks, your first dodge roll within a few seconds does not cost stamina. Unburden Roll. Unburden Roll, I think it's an amazing skill. It takes 1 skill point. That's number 1. Number 2 is that you're always rolling. So if you're in a battle between a player versus player, and you might roll when your shield is down, so you don't actually consume any stamina, and you dodge some bullets, and you actually might get into a better position when you do that. I think personally this skill is actually really, really great. I personally think it's actually in a B tier. I think it's like really, really good. I don't think it's like super good to the point that it needs to be on A tier though, but I think it's great. Down but determined. When you're down, it takes longer before you collapse. This skill right here is honestly awful, and this skill Turtle Crawl is awful too. So let's actually review that as well. So let's actually get the Turtle Crawl over here, because like I talked about bazillion times, is that when you're down and you're down, let's say even if you're playing single player and you're down, there's no reason to actually have extra health. There's no reason. Even if you're playing with multiplayer and you're playing with your friends, right? Like, it's not beneficial really as much. I feel like personally these skills you should never ever pick up whatsoever. They actually are kind of linked together at the same time, same thing, might as well put them both in D tier. They're just awful abilities, awful skills. I don't like picking up skills where you're already down. What's the reason for it? If you're down, yeah, you're out of the fight. There's no reason to actually pick skills that keep you alive longer just so you can see people shooting at you or doing the knockdown animation. A little extra. Breaching an object generates resources. I think this is actually a very, very great skill, and honestly, it's not really a bad skill because you're going to be breaching awfully a lot. If you want those resources, you will be breaching in this game. If you're a loot person, if you're a person that's really trying to get all the goop, this skill right here is going to help you get some more goop, get you some more resources, and for that, I honestly think this is actually a great skill as well. I will put it on B tier. Now let's actually move on to the next one. Melee's abilities cost less stamina, which is effortless swing, by the way. So, I think personally, this might be a controversial take right here. You can do a melee build, but it's not like a meta. It's not meta. It's not really anything. It's just kind of like a fun build for you to do. It's something that you can do in this game. That being said, I wouldn't recommend to pick it up because if we're just talking about full on, like what is the best skills in this game, I think this skill is actually not that great. I think you should also avoid it too. I will put it in C tier just in case that some people would want to make an argument about how, like, you can use the melee maybe to get some players, or maybe you can use it, but chances are you're not ever going to use the melee. But if you're trying to just do it for PvP and you're just trying to do it for the lulz, then absolutely you can get some use out of it. You could get some viable things out of it, and I can totally see people actually putting this into D tier. But I just think that there could be some use out of it. I personally think you would get more use out of these skills, compared to these skills right here down here. At least you actually are going in with the mindset that you want to be like, Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, so at least you're gonna try to make use out of it, compared to these ones. Loaded arms. Your equipped weapon has less impact on your encumbrance. Now, honestly, if you really are like a loot person, you love loot, you love it, this also helps out with that. 100% helps out with that. I think personally this skill is actually really, really good, in fact, because you could be actually going into the game like really, really heavy. I think this and plus it takes only one skill point too. It's only one skill point, so might as well just pick it up. I think this is actually a fantastic skill to pick up. For that, I would put it in A tier because I think this skill is so great. I think it's an amazing skill. Now, we're actually going to be talking right back on the melee thing. You deal more damage to drones. Like, this goes right back to, like, if you want to be like the melee person, you want to be like the Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, if that's something that you really, really want to do, then by all means, you can totally pick up the skill. You could totally have fun with it. But is it optimal? Is it actually, like meta? Absolutely not. It's just not, because bullets in this game is actually so easy to come by. You can actually find some ammo, and plus you can buy ammo, plus you can also craft ammo. There's just so many things for you to do to actually get ammo. Taking out arcs gets you ammo as well. So there's just so many things for you to do that honestly it's not really that viable. But that being said, though, like I said, I look at this skill much more viable compared to these skills right here down to the bottom, because at least you're going in with the mindset of being, Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. At least you're going in the mindset with that. So because of that, I will put it in C tier. When you're critically hurt, your health regenerates until a certain limit. I think personally, so this is a tough one because you have to go through a lot of skills in order to get this one. I think this skill is good, and I would say that right now. If we're just reviewing the skills on its own, I would personally say this skill is pretty good. But like I said, though, you have to be critically injured, but at least you get some regeneration for yourself, right? But you have to go through so many bad skills in order to get it. And because of that, I personally think that you actually should be putting this in C tier, at the high end of C tier. I think this is actually, a decent skill to pick up, and one that you can definitely make an argument that this skill is pretty good. Fly Swatter. Wasp and turrets can now be destroyed with a single melee attack. Look, it goes back what I was saying. These, as you may notice, Effortless Swing is a melee one. Sky Clearing Swing is also a melee one. And then now you have the main skill, which is now a melee one. All of these are just melee, and once again, if it's something that you really, really want to do, then by all means, like I said, it just goes back to what I say, is that if you want to be like Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, pick it up, you know, act like you're playing Dead by Daylight and you're the killer. So because of that, I'm actually going to put it on C tier. I think it's a, you know, I want to put it at the end, you know, maybe I put it right here along with all of them because it does, you know, does a little good. It's a little bit better, but that being said, it's not so much better though. I think it does its job though. Anyways, folks, let's actually go now to the yellow skill tree and fully on talk about the yellow one. So let's actually start off with this one right here. Something that we actually been talking about, which is actually, that should be, hold on one more time. So Nimble Climber, you could climb and vault more quickly. Okay, well, like, there's not much times for you to do it and vaulting, and there's no reason to put 5 skill points into it, in my opinion. I think putting like 3 is probably like, you know, the bare minimum, like the most that you should be putting points into it. Of course, this is just my opinion, but is it a bad skill? I don't think it's a bad skill whatsoever. I think it's quite decent, and for that, I actually am going to put it in B tier. I think it's actually, you know, maybe a little bit probably right here, to be honest with you. It's not a bad skill. It's a decent skill, but it's not something to write home about. So you have Slip and Slide. You can slide further and faster. I have very mixed feelings about this skill. Well, on one hand, you know, you can regenerate stamina if you're actually going down, and you can regenerate it, but you have to consume stamina to regenerate the stamina. So you consume it with the slide, and if it's a very long heal, a very steep heal, then yeah, absolutely, you can regenerate some stamina. But you have to make sure that you're sliding in very proper places. Otherwise, you're just kind of using stamina. You're using too much of it. Do I think it's a bad skill? No, but I do think it's decent. I actually would put it in C tier, in my opinion. I don't think it's a really, really bad skill. I just think it's just decent. Sturdy Ankles. You take less fall damage when falling from a non-lethal height. Well, so this skill right here is not necessarily bad, but if you've been playing this game, you know, this game awfully a lot, then there's actually some areas for you to avoid to not actually receive the fall damage. And there's also areas where you could just actually, you know, if you roll off to a certain angle, you can actually avoid the damage as well. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do that without even picking up the skill that you can totally avoid the damage. And also, like I said too, even if you take damage, you know, bandages are so easy to come by. And there is actually another skill that you guys can pick up, and it's only like 1 point. So you can actually craft some things from the top side to actually get the bandages as well, if that's something that you want to do. But right now, I'm actually going to put it in C tier. I think it's actually decent. I probably would put it over here, to be honest with you. I think it's just like, it's not super great, and I personally wouldn't recommend putting skill points into it, but that's just something. It's not a D tier, but it's, you know, you can get some use out of it. Calm and Stroll. While walking, your stamina regenerates as if you were standing still. All right, so everybody has been sending me, you know, comments and everything about Calm and Stroll. It's 1 point. Yes, absolutely. But since this is my video, this is my actually tier list, feel free to actually talk about it, comment down below, and try to change my eyes and my opinion about it. You know, don't worry, I'll be like the Steven Crowder of Arc Raiders, but, you know, change my mind. But right now, folks, I truly think this. I think this skill is not that great, but I don't think it's actually the worst skill. I don't think it's a D tier, but I think it's, you know, it's decent. I would definitely put it in C tier. I would definitely do that, and I would say that, you know, because personally, I'm all about trying to move and try to move. I don't feel like walking to actually recover the stamina. I feel like just trying to do like a light jog would be just as good. Anyways, folks, let's actually move on to the next one. Effortless roll. Dodge rolls cost less stamina. So originally, I would actually say that this skill is probably D tier. but it's not D tier anymore. Since they actually did buff this skill, which is actually like a godsend, I think that is actually great, because there's a lot of people that needs to roll, and people love rolling, and now it's actually quite viable now to actually put points into the skill. Excuse me. It's quite viable to actually put skill points here now, and you don't feel like you're wasting it. That being said, I actually really think this is actually a B tier. Honestly, even at the end of A tier, I might put it at the end of A tier, because rolling in this game is so important, especially when you're in PvP and you're doing some combats with it. I also want to say too, another thing too, is that I do like this skill. I do wish that I could be wrong about this, because I want to play more and more by using this skill too. I did feel like when I was rolling a bit, I felt like I needed much more of a buff a tiny bit, but it's fine though. I mean, maybe I just, me just messing up in the combat, because I did die. But I think it's pretty good. This skill right here. Crawl before you walk. When you're down, you crawl faster. This is one of the worst skills in the game, in my opinion, too. This is very awful. It goes back to what I was saying. When you're down, you're down, you're knocked down. What's the point? If you actually are going to be crawling to your teammates, I guess so, that's fine, but that doesn't really do much of anything. It's not very helpful. You're not going to be using, you're not really, it's not something helpful. It's really awful. So because of that, I'm actually going to put it in D tier. Never pick up that skill. The skill is awful. Just no reason to pick it up. No reason. You can wall leap further. Yeah, so this skill right here, you can wall leap further. Honestly, I don't think it's a bad skill, personally. I don't think it's bad. But it's also like it's not much to be desired. It's kind of funny, because like I don't really use this skill that much at all. If anybody wants to talk about it, feel free to leave it down in the comment down below. I don't think it's bad, but I definitely don't think it's good too compared to the other skills in this game. So because of that, I actually straight up would, put this in C tier in my opinion. Heroic leap. You can sprint, dodge, roll further. So heroic leap, to my understanding, heroic leap did not get buff, and I didn't feel like there was a buff to it. So you're still actually rolling. You're not rolling that far. So until they actually fix that, as of right now, I don't really think this is a great skill to pick up. I think the skill is actually quite awful. And it's actually so awful, in fact, that you shouldn't even put any points into it. So right now, as of right now, it is a D tier, because you're actually only rolling like centimeters, it feels like. So as of right now, unless someone corrects me in the comments about this, maybe they did buff it and maybe I just don't notice it. This skill isn't something that you guys should pick up, especially if you do some testing with it. It is actually rolling further, and putting that in quotations, but it's not you actually really rolling really that far. So it's not enough to actually put 5 points into it. It's not enough to actually put 1 point, especially if you put 1 point in it. You barely notice anything. Holy shoot, you barely notice a difference. So as of right now, the skill is not that great. Don't ever pick it up. Vaulting is no longer slowed down while exhausted. I think this skill is actually not bad. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't think it's bad. I think the skill is actually quite decent even. I would actually put this skill, in my opinion, I would definitely put this in B tier, because I think if you, but then again, you have to pick up one of the worst skills in the game, which is the heart one right here. This worst skills in the game, so you have to put at least 1 point into it. But that being said, I mean, it's actually decent. I actually like it. I think it's a complete mid perk in my opinion. Very mid. When falling, your timing window to perform a recovery roll is increased. Ready to roll. See, it's like, you know, to me, like I said, like when you get really good in this game and you start to really actually picture those great moments to roll and everything, you really wouldn't need this skill at all, unless they actually nerf, you know, the rolling window. That being said, I actually think this skill is like, you know, not that great. I'm actually going to put it in C tier. It's not really something you should put points into. I just feel like if you get, you know, better at the game, then you can just totally avoid the damage altogether. Lets you jump at the end of a vault, which is a vault spring right here. And we got vaults on vaults on vaults. Vaulting no longer costs stamina. So I think personally, so I would say this right here. Let's actually review the vaults versus vaults. Vaults, whatever. I think it's actually quite interesting. It could be a game changer right here, in my opinion, that you, anytime you're climbing over things, you're actually not consuming stamina. I think that could be a game changer. Something that if they actually fix this, for example, if they fix a heroic leap, then I would actually say this skill isn't bad either. I would say it's not really terrible. I would personally, you know, just the skill alone, in my opinion, I think the skill, since it's actually like, you know, you're right at the end of the skill tree, it's actually kind of easy for me to pick it up. But right now, as of right now, I will put it on on the B skill tree right now, the B tier list. Sorry, the B tier list, and I don't think it's bad. And you have this one too. So after you vault, then you can jump. That one, on the other hand, it's not really that useful in my opinion. I can't think of too many scenarios where you feel like you're going to be doing that. So because of that, I actually am going to put it in C tier. I might put it right there, or I might put it right here actually. Yeah, right there seems about fine. All right, so let's actually do this one. So this one's all about crouching. You crouch and you move faster. Like I said, I don't think you need to put 5 points into it, which is the crouching, moving faster, which is actually this one right here. Agile croucher. Your movement speed while crouching is increased. I don't think it's bad. But I don't think it's like super good. I think it's a completely mid perk. So it's right there at the end. I would definitely put this in B. I think this is actually a great mid skill, because, you know, you could be, you know, crouching around, you're moving faster, especially when you're in the hospital in Buried City. You could actually be trying to remain stealthy, because maybe there's players around and they're not saying friendly. So could be something right there. I think it's completely a mid perk. Looter's Instinct. When searching a container, loot is revealed faster. I think this skill is actually really good in my opinion. I think it's a very fantastic skill, where, you know, obviously you want the loot to come out as quickly as possible. You can actually make it a case for not to pick it up, but I think this skill is actually an A tier for me, in my opinion, because, like, you know, it can be a game changer where you're looting and maybe a player or a robot or something is actually coming, and maybe you want to actually just pick up that loot and just get out very quickly. You're just like, maybe someone's coming down, it's just like, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna run. Bye. So for me, like, the skill is actually, like, can be really good in my opinion, especially if you're doing a whole stealth build that I love doing. I love trying to be very stealthy, in my opinion. I love that because I don't really like doing PvP. And if you guys have actually been watching my streams and everything, you guys know that I don't really do PvP unless I'm just goofing off and I'm bored of the game. So I just kind of just love doing just being stealthy. The squat skill. Stamina regeneration while crouch is increased. Now, I don't think this skill is bad. I don't think this skill is bad at all. But I would say this though, is that it never specifies, nowhere in this game specifies that if you were standing up or if you're walking. Hell, I even think calming stroll is better than this skill, because at least you're gaining stamina and you just click a button. Crouching, you do gain stamina faster, but you won't gain stamina fast compared to just standing up. So in my opinion, there's not that much situations where you actually need to be crouching. You want to be doing that. And plus also, I want to also say this too. Believe it or not, folks, I think calming stroll would be better. It's a better skill to pick up than this skill right here. And there's a reason why. Because if you were just walking, right, you're actually still being stealthy and you're gaining your stamina up even faster. So I don't think this skill is actually that great in my opinion. And I honestly, I think I'll put it right at the end of C tier. I put it right at the end. I don't think it's a D tier, because you could definitely make a case for it. Maybe, like, you know, someone's shooting at you and you're trying to, you know, remain low and gain your stamina very quickly as well. But I don't think this skill is really that great. The only reason why I have points in this skill is because I was just trying to move up the skill tree, and I'm trying to actually pick up another skill, which we will talk about, right? But as of right now, I don't think that skill is really good. It's at the end of C tier for me. Very close to being on a D tier in my opinion. Very close, because like I said, I know I get comments one more time. I get comments all the time about Calming Stroll, which is funny, you know, because I don't think it's like the worst. I think Calming Stroll is better than this skill. I think this skill is better than this one. But anyways, though, in-round crafting unlocks the ability to field craft items while topside. This skill, no matter what build you're doing, you should always pick up this skill, because crafting on topside is absolutely amazing. I put that in S tier. You might as well just craft. You might as well just pick it up, start crafting some more skills. It is a complete must for it. The fact that you could craft while, you know, actually on topside is pretty cool, though. I would say that right now. It's actually pretty cool. So let's actually hold on. Suffer in silence. While critically hurt, your movement makes less noise. So I pick up this skill so I can move further. I would say that. But do I think this skill is really useful? No. You know, like I said, when you're critically hurt, you're going to probably get finished off very quickly, or you just want to heal yourself off. You'd never want to be critically injured. So you never will get the full value of this skill. And for that, I know this is going to come off surprising, but I actually think this is a D skill right here. But it's all the way up top of D, because you can get some value out of it, but I just don't think you get the most out of value. Actually, I might change my mind about the squat thing, by the way. I might actually put this in D as well. I'm going to put the squat thing in D as well. I really don't like it. You know, you get some use out of it, but you won't get like a lot of use out of it. So there's some scenarios of it, but just not a lot here. Anyways, let's actually talk about it right now with the heart, which is good as new. While under a healing effect, stamina regeneration is increased. I think good as new is a great skill to pick up. There's really no reason to not pick it up, especially that it's one and you're actually healing yourself and you get the stamina. I think it's an S tier. Might as well pick it up. There's no reason not to pick it up. This one to carry more weight. Now, if you're like a loot goblin like me, of course, pick it up. Take the loot goblin, be a loot goblin, pick this skill up, and grab some more loot. Once again, I think this is actually has no reason. There's no reason to not get it. I put it in S tier as well. There's just no reason to not get it. Let's actually talk about this one as well now, which is basically you traveling tinkerer unlocks additional items to field craft. No reason to not pick it up. No reason. It's one skill point. You might as well pick it up. It really is just there's, as you guys can see, I would say this right now, as you guys could tell, I think the red skill tree is one of the best skill trees out there. I really think so. Out of the yellow one and the green one, the red one's the best one. There's a lot of skills where you're just like, I don't see a reason why I would not want to pick it up. There's no reason to not pick it up. Unless there is an issue with the game, that there's a bug in it, then maybe perhaps you could do it. But then there are some skills that you guys could see that are on the bottom that are really, really bad as well, that you should actually keep an eye out for. Like this skill right here, like I said, you know, you need to pick it up in order to move forward. I know, you know, people might not like it, but you need to pick it up to move forward and grab the weight one. So it's my opinion on that. Stubborn Mule. Your stamina regeneration is less affected by being over encumbered. Now, I will say this right now. I love, you know, grabbing so much loot, but I love surviving more. Because so there's quite a few points in my Arc Raiders career that I felt like if it was either me dying or I want to grab all the loot and get out. And now my rat instincts was just like, I need to get out of here. But I was never going to make it out. There was no way I was going to. So it's just better for me, in my opinion, to actually just, you know, drop some loot. So I would say this one more time. You never ever want to be encumbered. You never ever want to be encumbered. So in my opinion, like, yeah, you could get some value out of it, but I don't think you should actually want to be encumbered though. Looter's Luck. While looting, there's a chance to reveal twice as many items at once. You know, looting, you end up getting the loot faster, and you reveal it twice as faster. So it's kind of very self-explanatory on that one. I would definitely put this on B tier in my opinion. I think it's actually a really, really great skill. I actually might put it right here for even. I think this is actually a very, very good skill. Not a bad one at all, in my opinion. One Raider scraps. When looting Raiders containers, you have a small chance of finding additional field crafted items. No reason to not pick it up in my opinion, because like if you're like a loot person and you're trying to loot, obviously you might as well pick this up. And especially it's a very good skill in my opinion, to the point that you're also going to be wanting to get security breach. Spoiler alert, I know a lot of people will say that the security breach is nerf and it's bad, but I think you still would get some value and use out of security breach, and plus security breach you actually get some blueprints, so there's no reason for not to pick this one up. So I would definitely rank this and actually put it in B tier as well. It's a decent skill. It's not a skill like, it's not like super bad. It's a very decent one in my opinion. After an ability drains your stamina, you recover more quickly. I mean, I think it's okay too. I think it's very decent as well. There's no reason. That's a lie. There's actually a good reason why you would want to avoid it, because there is actually other skills like on the other side of the red skill tree, which I'll show you guys right now. I think this side of the skill tree is actually better than this one. You could definitely go this way. Like the stubborn mule, in my opinion, you guys already know my opinion about it. I don't think you ever want to be encumbered. But I guess if you're those people that are loving all the loot and they want to stay, you want to keep all of it, by all means, yeah, you could definitely see a point in actually picking that up. This skill right here, it's like, it's okay. It's decent. It's not super great if you compare it to the other ones, like broader shoulders, looter's luck, one Raider scraps, traveler and tinkerer. Like, you have these other skills. The other skills are just better in my opinion. But that being said, I definitely am going to actually appreciate and respect the people that do use it, so I will put it in C tier. Security breach. I think security breach is good. Now, even though they did nerf it and actually made it to where the hidden items are in different locations now, and they're not all in the same location, which, by the way, I actually agree with 1000%. I will say that right now. But you still would get some use out of it. I don't think it's an S tier perk, but I definitely think it's an A tier skill. The Minesweeper. Mines and explosive deployables can be defused when in close proximity. I think mines in this game are really OP. If you guys have been watching my live streams, and we actually will pull up a clip right now if you're watching this on a YouTube video, where mines are so OP, like I started killing players like no tomorrow with the mines, and especially on my free time too, if I feel like being like a little rat. Like, I really think mines are like super powerful in this game, and I think mines are also being very underutilized. I think at some point Arc Raiders will be approaching an era where there's going to be a lot of players putting mines down and killing players, especially actually right now. That could be going on right now, because so when I spawned in, for example, there was one time I spawned into Stella and people were putting mines down, and I ran into one, unfortunately, and I did die because there was nothing for me to do. And because of that, I think this is actually going to be an A tier as well. I will put it right here. I think it's an A tier skill. Might as well pick it up. Now we have this one here. Silent Scavenger. You make less noise when looting. So I know this one has a different logo. Don't mind that. It's the same one. You make less noise when looting. I think it's okay. It's not great. It's something that you have to pick up in order to move. I would, if possible, I would recommend to actually pick up some other skills. But that being said, in my opinion, like me going back in time right now, I would actually put this in C tier in my opinion. I don't think it's actually a really great skill. I think it's decent. But there you go. That's my opinion, folks. But make sure you leave a like, make sure you leave a comment, and make sure you subscribe and actually tell me what you guys think about this tier list. Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? Well, let me know in the comments. And also, try to become a member. Links are in the description. Become a member today and support the channel if you guys like this content. Anyways, the best gamer of all time is signing off.